Alright, we're in the private oral exam guide for private pilot, sport pilot. Chapter 1, we're going to go into C, which is currency requirements. What are the requirements to remain current as a private pilot? 14 CFR 61.56. Within the preceding 24 months, accomplished a flight review, given an aircraft for which that pilot is rated by an authorized instructor, and received a logbook endorsement of certifying that the person has satisfactorily completed the review. To carry passenger, a pilot must have made, within the preceding 90 days, 3 takeoffs and landings as the sole manipulator of flight controls of an aircraft of the same category and class if the type rating is required of the same type. If the aircraft is a tail-wheel airplane, the landings must have been made to a full stop in an airplane with a tail wheel. If operations are to be conducted during the period beginning 1 hour after sunset and ending 1 hour before sunrise with passengers on board, the pilot in command must have, within the preceding 90 days, made at least 3 takeoffs and 3 landings to a full stop during that period and an aircraft of the same category, class, type, if a type is required of aircraft to be used. Note: takeoffs and landings required by this regulations may be accomplished in a flight simulator or flight training device that is approved by the administrator and used in accordance with an approved course conducted by a certificated training center. Alright, currency requirements number 2. To exercise the privileges of a private pilot certificate, what medical certificate is required and how long is it valid? 14 CFR 61.23. You must hold at least a third-class medical certificate. The medical certificate expires at the end of the last day of the 60th month after the month of the date of examination shown on the certificate. If on the date of your most recent medical examination you were under the age of 40. 60 months, 5 years, okay. The 24th month after the month of the date of examination shown on the certificate. If on the date of your most recent medical examination you were over the age of 40. So just 2 years if you're over the age of 40. Number 3, if a pilot changes his or her permanent mailing address and fails to notify the FAA Airman Certification Branch of the new address, how long may the pilot continue to exercise the privileges of his or her pilot certificate? 14 CFR 61.60. 30 days after the date of the move. 30 days. Alright, going into D, aircraft certification and documents. What documents are required on board an aircraft prior to flight? 14 CFR 91.203. Gotta have this would be the acronym AROW, A-R-O-W, Airworthiness Certificate, Registration Certificate, Owner's Manual Operating Limitations, POH, and the weight and balance data sheet, which might be in your POH. Number 2, aircraft certifications and documents. How can a pilot determine if his or her aircraft is equipped with a Mode C altitude encoding transponder? By referencing the current weight and balance equipment list for the aircraft, a pilot could positively determine whether or not a Mode C transponder is installed. Does an aircraft registration certificate have an expiration date? Yes, as of October 1st, 2010, specific registration expiration dates have been established for all aircraft registered before October 1st, 2010. Those aircraft require re-registration according to a specific schedule. All initial aircraft registrations issued on or after October 1st, 2010 will expire 3 years after the last date of the month in which they were issued. E. Aircraft maintenance requirements. Who is responsible for ensuring that an aircraft is maintained in an airworthy condition? 14 CFR 91.403. The owner or operator of an aircraft is primarily responsible for maintaining an aircraft in an airworthy condition. After aircraft inspections have been made and defects have been repaired, who is responsible for determining that the aircraft is in airworthy condition? The pilot in command of a civil aircraft is responsible for determining whether the aircraft is in condition for safe flight. The pilot in command shall discontinue the flight when unairworthy mechanical, electrical, or structural conditions occur. What records or documents should be checked to determine that the owner-operator of aircraft has complied with all the required inspections and airworthiness directives? 14 CFR 91.405. The maintenance records, aircraft and engine logbook. Each owner-operator of an aircraft shall ensure that maintenance personnel make appropriate entries in the aircraft maintenance records, indicating the aircraft has been approved for return to service. Number 4. What regulations apply concerning the operation of an aircraft that has had alterations or repairs which may have substantially affected its operation in flight? 14 CFR 91.407. No person may operate or carry passengers in an aircraft that has undergone maintenance, preventive maintenance, rebuilding, or alterations that have made appreciably changed its flight characteristics or substantially affected its operation in flight until an appropriately rated pilot with at least a private pilot certificate flies the aircraft makes an operational check of the maintenance performed on the alterations made, and logs the flight in the aircraft records. Number 5. What is an airworthiness certificate and how long does it remain valid? An airworthiness certificate is issued by the FAA only after the aircraft has been inspected and found to meet requirements of 14 CFR Part 21 and is in a condition for safe operation. Under any circumstances, the aircraft must meet the requirements of the original type certificate. The certificate must be displayed in the aircraft so it is legible to passengers or crew members whenever the aircraft is operated, and it may be transferred with the aircraft except when sold to a foreign purchaser. Standard airworthiness certificates remain in effect as long as the aircraft receives the required maintenance and is properly registered in the United States. Cool. Number 6. Can a pilot conduct flight operations in an aircraft with known inoperative equipment? Yes, under specific conditions. 14 CFR .91 describes acceptable methods for the operation of aircraft with certain inoperative instruments and equipments that are not essential for safe flight. They are operation of aircraft with a minimum equipment list, MEL, as authorized by 14 CFR 91.213. Operation of aircraft without an MEL under 14 CFR 91.213. And that was, can a pilot conduct flight operations in an aircraft with known inoperative equipment? What are the minimum equipment lists? The minimum equipment list, the MELs, is a precise listing of instruments, equipment, and procedures that allows an aircraft to be operated under specific conditions with inoperative equipment. The MEL is a specific inoperative equipment document for a particular make and model aircraft by serial and registration numbers, e.g. BE200, 812345. The FAA approved MEL includes only those items of equipment that the FAA deems may be inappropriate and still maintain an acceptable level of safety with appropriate conditions and limitations. Number 8. What limitations apply to aircraft operations conducted using the deferral provision of 14 CFR 91.213? When inoperative equipment is found during pre-flight or prior to departure, the decision should be to cancel the flight, obtain maintenance prior to flight, or to defer the item or equipment. Maintenance deferrals are not used for in-flight discrepancies. The manufacturer of AFM POH procedures are to be used in those situations. What limitations apply to aircraft operating being conducted using MELs? The use of an MEL for a small non-turbine powered airplane operated under Part 91 allows for the deferral of inoperative items or equipment. FAA considers an approved MEL to be a supplementary type certificate, STC, issued to an aircraft by serial number and registration number. Once an operator requests an MEL and a letter of authorization is issued by the FAA, then the MEL becomes mandatory for that airplane. All maintenance deferrals must be done in accordance with the MEL and the operator-generated procedures document. What are the procedures to follow when using 14 CFR 91.213 for deferrals in operative equipment? The pilot determines whether inoperative equipment is required by type, design, the regulations, or airworthiness directives. If the inoperative item is not required and the airplane can be safely operated without the deferral may be made. Then the pilot removes or deactivates the inoperative item and places an inoperative placard near the appropriate switch, control, or indicator. If deactivation or removal involves maintenance, removal it will be accomplished by the certificated maintenance personnel. For example, if the position lights, installed equipment were discovered to be inoperative prior to daytime flight, the pilot would follow the requirements of Section 91.213. What are the required maintenance inspections for aircraft? 14 CFR 91.409. Yeah, so you have the annual inspection within the preceding 12 calendar months, a 100-hour inspection if carrying any person other than a crew member for hire or giving flight instruction for hire. If an aircraft is operated for hire, it must have a 1-hour inspection as well as an annual inspection when due. If not operated for hire, it must have an annual inspection only. If an aircraft has been on a schedule of inspection every 100 hours, under what conditions may it continue to operate beyond the 100 hours without a new inspection? 14 CFR 91.409. The 100-hour limitation may be exceeded by not more than 10 hours while en route to place where the inspection can be done. The excess time used to reach a place where the inspection can be done must be included in computing the next 100 hours of time in service. What is the difference between an annual inspection and a 100-hour inspection? No differences exist when comparing the content of an annual inspection with that of a 100-hour inspection. The difference is who is allowed to perform these inspections. Only an A&P mechanic with an inspection authorization can perform an annual inspection. 1-hour inspections may be performed by an A&P mechanic. No IA inspection authorization required. Number 14. Be capable of locating the required maintenance and equipment inspections for your aircraft in the aircraft and engine logbooks. What should these include? Your A, your annual inspection and applicable airworthiness directives complied with every 12 calendar months. V, VOR check if used for IFR every 30 days. Alright. Your 100-hour inspection if used for higher flight instruction. Your alternative reporting equipment and static pressure systems tested and inspecting for IFR ops every 24 calendar months. Altitude. Altimeter 24 calendar months. VOR every 30 days if IFR. Transponder tested and inspections every 24 calendar months. Emergency locator transponder operated and battery condition inspected every 12 calendar months. Number 15. What are some of the responsibilities an aircraft owner has pertaining to aircraft documents, maintenance, and inspections of the aircraft? Aircraft owners must have a current airworthiness certificate and aircraft registration in the aircraft. Maintain the aircraft in an airworthy condition, including compliance with all applicable airworthiness directives. Ensure maintenance is properly recorded. Keep abreast of current regulations concerning the operation of that aircraft. Notify the FAA Civil Aviation Registry immediately of any change of permanent mailing address or of the sale or export of the aircraft or of the loss of citizenship. Have a current FCC radio station license if equipped with radios including emergency located transmitter ELT if operated outside of the United States. This will be keep going. Define preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance means simple or minor preservation operations and the replacement of small standard parts not involving complex assembly operations. Certificated pilots, excluding student pilots and sport pilots and recreational pilots, may perform preventive maintenance on an aircraft that is owned or operated by them, provided the aircraft is not used in air carrier service. 14 CFR Part 43 identifies typical preventive maintenance operations, which include basic items such as oil changes, wheel bearing lubrication, hydraulic fluid, brakes, landing gear system refills. Number 17. What are special flight permits and when are they necessary? 14 CFR 91.213. Special flight permit may be issued for an aircraft that may not currently meet applicable airworthiness requirements but is capable of safe flight. These permits are typically issued for the following purposes: flying an aircraft to a base where repairs, alteration, or maintenance are to be performed, or to a point of storage, delivering or exporting an aircraft, production flight testing new production aircraft, evacuating aircraft from areas of impending danger, conducting customer demonstration flights and new production aircraft that have satisfactorily completed production flight test. That was what are special flight permits. How are special flight permits obtained? Every special flight permit is needed assistance, and the necessary forms may be obtained from the local FSDO or designated airworthiness representative, the DAR. What are, number 19, what are airworthiness directive ADs? An AD is the medium the FAA uses to notify aircraft owners and other potentially interested persons of unsafe conditions that may exist because of design defects, maintenance, or other causes, and to specify the conditions under which the product may continue to be operated. ADs are regulatory in nature and compliance is mandatory. It is the aircraft owner or operator's responsibility to ensure compliance with all pertinent ADs. ADs are divided into two categories: those of an emergency nature requiring immediate compliance prior to further flight, and those of a less urgent nature requiring compliance within a specified period of time. All ADs and the AD biweekly are free on the internet at http://rgl.faa.gov. Number 20. Are electrical flight bags Electronic flight bags, EFBs, approved for use as a replacement for paper reference material, POH, and supplements, etc. In the cockpit. Yes, EFBs can be used during all phases of flight operation in lieu of paper references material when the information displayed is the functional equivalent of the paper reference material replaced and is current, up-to-date, and valid. It is recommended that a secondary or a backup source of aeronautical information necessary for the flight be available. Good. Alright, we'll stop there. That's chapter 1. That was certificates and documents. That was number 20. That's on page 1-14. There is additional study questions. We'll do that in the next video.